Minnesota has a passion for beer, from the first ales brewed by settlers to the modern craft beer movement. We spoke with historian Doug Hoverson and two Minnesotan brewers to hear about how beer has changed over time.
Beer for beer, I think Minnesota can hold its own with any place in the world. Minnesota has an outstanding reputation nationally among the brewing community.
All the amazing craft breweries we've got, even seen as being very cool and upcoming on a national level.
You have a pretty healthy German population that put Minnesota pretty rock solid into the beer category.
More than 350 breweries have opened their doors for business, starting in 1849. Of course, about 275 of them also closed their doors to business. The first brewers were early settlers who came out here and decided they needed a couple of things. One, something safe to drink, and also something with a little bit of flavor. Beer has the benefit of being boiled in the course of its manufacture, and that makes it safe to drink.
We are the second oldest family-owned brewery in the country. So the Schell story starts in 1828. August Schell is born in Durbach, Germany. Makes his way to the United States. There he meets his wife, Teresa, and in talking with some friends, they hear about this settlement of New Ulm in the territory of Minnesota. So they pack up the wagon, they head up north, but in a town of Germans and no brewery, it's not hard to figure out what you should be doing.
The Germans brought the tastes of their home country and also the cultures of their home country, because the beer garden and the beer hall were not just a place to have beer. They were a place to meet, to listen to music, to talk about politics, and all of these things were lubricated by a well-made lager beer.
There was no refrigeration. There really wasn't much take-home beer. I mean, if you were going to drink, you went to the saloon.
Anti-alcoholism had been advancing for quite a while, but the timing for them was perfect, and you probably would not have had Prohibition were it not for the fact that we were at war with Germany, and you could make the claim that if you buy a beer, the money is probably going straight to the Kaiser.
Before Prohibition, breweries were in most cases local and a lot smaller, and there were breweries all across the country, little ones here and there.
If it was a small family firm, they'd probably be able to keep the bills paid by making some other products on the side. But near beer was not particularly close to beer unless you were a bad judge of distance.
They used to say that the only good near beer was one that tastes good when you respiked it, because that's what everybody did with near beer. So
the Germans of Minnesota just could not believe that this insanity would last forever. So they kept planning for the days when it would come back. April 7th, 1933 is New Beer's Day. There were parties in nearly every city that had gotten their liquor licenses passed in time. They were allowed to begin shipments at 12:01 a.m. Trucks were ready, train cars were ready, factory whistles blew, in some cities church bells rang, but there were some close calls as people scrambled to get their beer. So during the war, there were a number of stories about troops halfway around the world who ended up going to the PX, getting a beer, and it turned out to be the beer from their hometown. So it was great for morale. They also decided it was great for morale at home as well. America cemented its taste for light-colored, light-flavored lager. During the 1950s and 60s, there were a number of brewers who said publicly that what they were trying for was a sweeter, lighter beer to appeal to the tastes of people who had been raised on soda pop.
The whole nationwide business climate had changed a lot, and there was a lot more consolidation, and breweries just grew bigger and bigger, and also started watering down their products to make them more appealing to a larger number of people.
And so it was harder and harder to distinguish between Schell's, Pabst, Miller, Hamm's, Grain Belt. So the competition gets down to pricing and advertising.
When you were thinking about Minnesota beer in the 1960s and 70s, you were thinking about Grain Belt, Schmidt, or especially Hamm's. as great as the Hamm's Bear was, it didn't necessarily sell more beer. Their peak production and their peak ranking was actually before the Hamm's Bear became internationally famous. And when Miller went national with Light, they advertised at just an extraordinary rate, and almost no other brewer in the country could keep up.
You know, the consumer then all of a sudden gets tired and is looking for something new. At the start of the craft beer revolution, well, what's new in the United States? Well, ales.
What's happening in the beer world now is really a return plus. The craft brewers of Minnesota have gone significantly past resurrecting the styles and have started to tweak them and add their own twists. A brewer in 1880 would have never thought of trying to get a pale ale that had a melon mango sort of flavor and aroma. It was supposed to taste like beer. Minnesota's beer drinkers are discovering how much variety there is in that one four-letter word.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.